Hello and welcome back to Valkyrie's Art Corner. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell for notification of my new video. Today we're going to work on a character from the Lore Olympus series, Hades. In my other videos I have done one for Persephone, which is the love interest of Hades. So we're starting out on the background of mixing blues and blacks because that's what color Hades is in the series. And if you've watched my other videos, you'll remember me mentioning that they're very monochromatic, so each character has its own color. And since Hades is the king of the underworld, they made him blue, black, and then he has white hair. So that's what we're doing here on the background, is making blue and black. And then, since it's dry, I'm going to take some white paint I had set aside and then soak my brush with water. And then I'm going to flick the edge of the brush to kind of get these white specks on the background. But we don't want to cover the background entirely. So now we just got to let those dry before we continue. And now that those are dry, I sped up the video just a little bit, but we're going to start out with the circle of his head, and then we're going to draw the cylinder for his neck, and then a partial triangle for his shoulders, and a kind of crooked triangle for his collar. And then kind of outlining his jawline a little bit, tends to be a little square, with his cheekbones. Then draw the center of his head, and draw the eye line, and then begin to draw in the eyes, with a line and a curve underneath, and then 2 half circles on the inside, and then a curve for his mouth. And he always has this little wicked grin when he's trying to be mischievous, so do it that way. And then his eyebrows are kind of thick, so that's how we're going to draw them. They're like 2 rectangles up on the shoulder, or not shoulders, his eyes. And now we're drawing in his hairline, and then just make kind of swoopy marks up here. And then a half C for his ear, and then it kind of looks like him in his Kronos form, because his father is actually the Titan Kronos in this series. And now I'm going to do a mixture of white, blue, and black to get this coloration, and kind of work around his eyes, so that way I can remember placement, because sometimes if I don't do that, if I paint over them, I'll forget and have to redraw them again. Then paint up along his hairline. And with his face right here, what we're doing with the blue and everything like that, we're going to do a wet on wet technique. So that's what I'm doing right here. I added just a little darker shade of blue into it, and I'm shading where I would think that it would be shaded. Which is like under his eyes, under his hairline, around his lower part of his jaw, not exactly where the light would hit. So I'm just kind of highlighting that real quick with the shading. And then now I'm added a little more white to the black mixture, or the black and blue mixture I just did, and adding more white into it to kind of blend out and make it more even. Sort of like what you see with those contour videos with makeup and everything like that. So right here I just decided to cover his mouth because it had been a lot easier than trying to outline it. And now I'm going to color in white for his eyes. And just follow the outline that we did. And I had too much water in my brush right there, so I'm going to have to leave it alone. And then add in the spot where his teeth. And his hair is really kind of bluish white in the series, but it's supposed to be white. And then just wherever you drew in all the hair and everything like that, you'll want to color it in white, and the picture will start coming together for you a little bit more there. And since you're painting over the wax pencil, you can correct any lines that you've messed up on, or if you need to add extra lines or anything like that, you can do that with the paint. And now that's dried, I'm going to make those a little bit brighter. And Hades in the series always wears these suits, so that's what we're doing right here. We're doing the white undershirt for where he wears a suit jacket. And I put a little white. If you do make a mistake like that, just go back in with the original colors that you had, and you can always touch that up. And my brush is still a little wet, so the paint's going on a little bit more fluid than what it was originally. And I add in a few details before I switch off the white. And here, in the picture I was referencing, it had like this little like white background, but then I realized I made it too white. So I just kind of went over it with like the dark blue, but it still left a little bit of a halo there, which is fine. And now we're painting in black for his suit jacket. And then adding in a little bit of like dry brushing with the black because it looks kind of really sketched out and everything like that. So yeah, so just fill in wherever his jacket would be and finish that out. And to finish the look of his suit jacket, I'm adding in like a grayed out highlight on it so you can kind of see the difference between the background and his jacket, since it's black and most of the background is black and blue. And now I'm adding in his suit tie, which we want to make kind of a halfway curved square, and then a long rectangle for his tie. And it looks very sketched out, so that's what I'm trying to do with the white, is kind of make it look kind of sketchy. And then add a little gray on the inside. And then now we're adding in the same skin color with the blue, black, and white, except just adding a little more white to kind of give that highlight to his hair. And now we're painting in black for his eyebrows. His eyebrows are kind of thick, so that's what we're going to have to use on that. And now that I let that dry just a little bit, I'm going to take some the thick marker that I had after I just realized that I painted over some of the hair that he had going over his eyebrows. So I'm just going to fix that real quick. And there we go. Remember, after you paint, you get paint on your brush, you always want to rinse it. So now I'm going to use two different types of markers, a thick one and a thin liner one. And just kind of outline all the big parts with the big marker. And I'm going to use the smaller marker for finer details. So right now we're just going to outline his face. And then over here, his cheekbone kind of lines up with the mark that goes into his ear, like how you would have your inner ear. And just trace on the outside of the jawline. And then we'll want to go down here and draw the black line over the gray a little bit to make his shoulders pop out a little bit more. And as you can tell, it pops out really well against that dark background now. And then kind of trace the outside of his tie, and then adding in a line because I felt like his tie was not wide enough, and wipe off the paint that I had gotten on it because I didn't realize that the white hadn't fully dried up yet. And now we're going to take the fine line marker, which it doesn't look like it's coming off on the paint too well. I don't know if it just doesn't like this painting, or I'm going to try doodling on myself a little bit. Okay, it's coming off there, but I have no clue why it's not going onto the painting. Yeah, I think I'm trying to draw it up here. Nope, I don't think it's going to work. So we're going to have to switch over to the bigger marker to outline. And fortunately, you can use it either as a wide tip marker or I'm going to try it one more time. It came off on the pen. Yeah. Fortunately, with the wide marker, it can be switched between kind of a semi-line or a thin line, or it could be used as a thick liner, so I'm going to have to be really careful with this marker. And then we'll go over right here where the little bit of that thin marker managed to get off on the canvas and just kind of trace over it. And now we're going to draw on his eyes. Now the look that he has going on here is more of like a he, I'm a sly little devil kind of thing. And in the series he's not like how he was portrayed in the movie Hercules, the Disney movie, where he's like this crazy baddie, kind of like out of control guy. He's actually a very grounded, well-centered kind of person, and he's very relatable, very humanistic, and he's actually a very gentle soul, even though some of the other characters in the series didn't think so, and they think he's just a scoundrel and he's a mean person, and he's really not. He's a really nice guy. And then we're just going to outline his eyebrows right here just to kind of make them pop. And then do the same over here for his other eyebrow. And then we're just going to add in some detail lines here to give it some character. Now on Hades, he does have some like exaggerated lines around his eyes where it almost seems like he's very tired all the time, which if you read the Lore Olympus series, you'll understand why. But we want to emphasize on that a little bit underneath his eyes. And now we're drawing in the details where his nose would outline. And draw some lines right here for his nostrils. And now we want to start with his hair after we outline the ear. Oh, sorry, I had a piece of plastic on there. I was printing some cups, and in the meantime, while I was waiting for it to dry, it was the bottom half didn't disconnect from it like it was supposed to, so I had to like cut it off. But that's all fixed. So all we're doing is just adding in detailed lines for his hair. And I'm going to do the same all over. Now the little strands that he has coming down on his forehead, we don't want to outline in black because they'll kind of take away from it. But I added a black one down here to kind of shadow it. And then we're just kind of making up these lines as we go based off the reference photo that I had setting off to the side there. And my computer actually kind of froze there a minute, so I had to fix it so that way I could get the proper details in. And then we're going to add in a little tuft of hair that's up here. And I think at this point I was just trying to figure out whether or not if I need to add more lines to it or make it pop and everything like that. So I just went ahead and just outlined everything to kind of soften out the edges and make them more clear. And after these last few lines, that will complete the picture. And I think it turned out great. So if you really like this video, or if you want to see more Lore Olympus, or have a specific picture in mind you'd like me to draw, just comment below or contact me on Facebook at Valkyrie's Art Corner. See you guys later.